here's something we're going to try out for a little farm economics for you. This big bag of pine shavings, and mind you, it's shavings, chips, whatever you want to call it. It's got big flake, loose flake in it. It's got some chips in it, but for the most part, it's pretty decent stuff for bedding. It's a little bit bigger and rougher than the mini flake that we buy from TSC. The difference is this big bag weighs at least 50 pounds, maybe 60. Those bags weigh about 20, 25 pounds maybe. Now, granted, those are drier. These, when I got the bag, you can tell there's a little bit of moisture in it. You can see the actual condensation inside the bag after it sat out in the sun a little bit. They have been kiln dried to some aspect, but they're not probably as dry as the TSC chips. They're definitely not as uniform, and they're not as small. But those chips are $5.99 per bag for, like I said, 25 pounds. So let's assume that weight is volume here, and that these aren't as wet as I think they are. I really don't think they're all that wet. So let's assume that weight is equivalent to volume. These at 20 pounds, $5.99. This at 50 to 60 pounds, $5 even. So way more bang for the buck here, assuming that all that extra weight isn't just straight up water. So we're going to try it out. I just bought the one bag from a local mill. If we feel like it works out just fine and we get more use out of this bag than we do out of one of those, then it's a game changer. We'll get way more again, volume and uses out of this $5 that we spent here versus the $6 that we spent at TSC. So we're going to spread out here and I guess just kind of see as I spread out of this bag how it looks and see what we think. So just spreading out in the pen here, I used about half that bag, which if I'm real stingy on the TSC flake, about a half a bag does a pen as well. So what I'm thinking is the extra weight, really truly, it is not moisture so much as it is the actual density of the chips. And what I mean by that is big chunks like this, which that's kind of a chip, but these chunks, these chips more than flake, I think maybe are what add a lot of weight, because when you spread it out, like I said, there's lots of fines and stuff in there, and there's lots of flake, but it just moving it around with your hands, you can feel it. It's just a much more dense product. It's not light and fluffy like that. So I don't know if that's going to be a problem, but I would say, like I said, if we're going purely on volume here, if I'm real stingy and I try not to use too much of that stuff, I can do a stall in about a half a bag, maybe 3/4 of a bag. So here I've used about a half a bag of that. So at that rate, you're the same on volume. However, we are still saving $1 per bag. So if you're buying off a lot of this stuff, hey, it could add up, right? So the next test now will be to see how it holds up. We'll see as the goats are on it. We've been mucking the stalls out now about every 3 to 4 days. We just come in, wherever there's wet spots, we just kind of turn the stall over every morning and help kind of fluff it up and get some air in it. So we're not cleaning them every single day now that our baby here's gotten a little bigger. That little baby, the one that's stealing all my morning milk. Now that she's gotten a little bigger, we're not quite as concerned about keeping the stall pristine clean. Interesting little thing though too on the mucking the stalls, I have a habit of throwing it in a feed sack because I like to muck out just what's wet and try to save as much as I can that's dry. This has been in this feed sack now for about a week. Kind of closed up, kind of stirred up, but also got wet. And it is composting extremely fast, which is kind of funny. It's kind of an interesting little test. It's got me thinking about doing more of this on purpose. I know people do black bag composting as far as trash bags. So the concept is there, the idea is there. So I don't know. I was just using the bags just for a place to pick it up and move it versus going to all the work getting the wheelbarrow in here every time. This is really, really chippy still. There's not as much manure and urine and that stuff. This was pretty soggy. But if I scrape out, only the the thickest stuff, the wettest stuff, and put it all right in a bag and kind of roll the bag up tight, and maybe spray some water in on it, I might have a way here to really accelerate some composting. Right now, I just take it all out in the wheelbarrow or whatever, dump it on the big compost pile, and just let nature take its course. But that's relatively pretty slow, and this could be, like I said, much faster. Am I in a pinch for compost? No, but if I can speed it up with not really any extra effort, then I may, right? Makes sense. Anyway, want to talk mostly this morning about chipping the stalls. We'll try to give it a couple days and see how it performs, and then I'll give you guys a little update on what I think. But for now, I gotta get this mama up on the stand, and I gotta get her milked before the baby steals everything.